Is it still possible to resell in 2026 full-time? Well, I had no other option than to do that. And I have now been doing it full-time for the past 3 months now. So for context, I've been reselling for much longer than that, on and off. I probably started, let's call it, I don't know, like mid 2021 is when I really started reselling. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just getting everything I could find and looking up what it was listed at on eBay and selling it. I'll never forget, there was like, I bought like 4 Mickey Mouse books, like kids books, and they were like 90 cents each, and there was like listings for them for $5, and I was like, the return on investment on that is crazy, and I had no idea what I was doing. And then I learned about a sell-through rate, and then I started getting a lot more items, and it was just sitting in my tiny little closet, and that's where all my goods were. I didn't have any boxes, I didn't have any tape, I didn't have anything. I started buying my tape from the USPS store. That was not a good idea. And then it kind of turned into understanding a little bit more on, oh, okay, like there's a percentage that eBay's taking. I have to make sure that I'm charging the right amount of money for shipping. And, you know, the little things that you start to learn. I probably did that for maybe about a good year or so. And it was always at a part-time just kind of capacity. And I ended up moving back in with my parents, and I ran that operation in just a small bedroom, and it really wasn't anything crazy. I was just listing things that I could find, and it wasn't like a multiple sourcing day where I just hit all thrift stores every single day and listed X amount of items every single day. I just would go casually to the thrift stores, find something to sell and sell it, and if it made sense. Then I stopped doing that. And then about a year or two ago, I went back into reselling to supplement some more income. It started in the trunk of my 2006 Nissan Sentra, and then I got the smallest storage unit that you could get for a reseller. I don't even remember what size it was, and ran that operation out of that. Then I grew out of that one really fast and decided to buy a much bigger storage unit. And then when I had that bigger storage unit, I started running it a lot more like a business, but it was still part-time. I was doing really 3 businesses, or 3 side hustles, if you will, in real estate, reselling, and doing Uber Eats. So it wasn't like hitting the thrift stores every single day and listing X amount of items every single day. It was just hitting the thrift stores as many times as I could throughout the week, and then listing as many things as I could throughout the week, and then shipping it from there. That one I started understanding a little bit more, you know, like how to get the right boxes, how to store the right thing. But again, it was at a part-time kind of thing. I was doing all different businesses. I actually would start my day with reselling, so I would ship off the things that were shipping. It was terrible because I didn't have internet, I didn't have electricity in that storage unit, so I just did the worst way possible on how you could use your time in reselling. And then when I had my car full of stuff to ship, I would go work at a Starbucks and do real estate stuff for about 3 hours at the Starbucks. I would go drop off my shipping packages, and then in between then, while I would wait for things to happen, I would either go hit the thrift store or go do Uber Eats. And then sometimes I'd be doing Uber Eats until 11 p.m., repeating the next day. Well, then I decided, okay, you know what, maybe I should go all in on real estate. And so I sold that business to somebody, and he just bought out my entire store. And then from there, I did real estate. And real estate was what I did for about 1.5 years or so. And some things changed. I had some misalignments with the partners I was working with, and decided to go all in on reselling. And here we are now 3 months later, doing reselling full time, primarily selling clothes. I like to sell men's clothes, and one of my favorite things to sell in men's clothes is jeans, but I do like to sell hats. That's my absolute favorite thing to sell. And then you'll grab the occasional women's clothes, just being at the bins and stuff like that. So realistically, I don't have an exact answer for you, but right now it's working. And a lot of people get worried because thrift store prices get more expensive, or there's more competition, or whatever. Life gets more expensive, rent gets more expensive. Is it really possible to do it? Is it too late to do it? And to be honest with you, I would say, as of right now, it's not impossible. Is it difficult? 1,000%. But what business isn't difficult? I mean, I've been doing all sorts of businesses for the past 5 years now. And if you're getting into business and expecting the easiest way of life, then you probably shouldn't be in business. Now, is this business much different than a lot of the other businesses I was doing? Yes, and that's kind of why I'm doing this business in particular, because I don't really like the lottery-based businesses is what I'm calling them. These ones that you always hear about how fast you can get rich, and it's not a pyramid scheme, but everyone kind of it just feels weird, you know? But now here we are reselling. So actually what I'm gonna do is bring you through my day in life of what it looks like as a full-time reseller, somebody that has just recently been doing this full-time. And it's kind of funny because although I have a lot of knowledge in reselling in the past, this is very, very different than how I've ever operated a reselling business. So you almost feel new because the way that I have to get inventory, how many times I source, how many times I list, and even just the random things like buying shelves for storing things and consistently buying shipping or packing material on a consistent basis, not just when you run out or when I'm about to get close and then I gotta go do this. There's a lot of nuance that comes with this doing it full time. So I'll kind of show you a little bit of it and we'll see where this takes you. So let's go drop off these packages and we will go catch you back up. Hi, Milo. Hi, Milo. Good morning. I actually think I have a package for me. Hi. Oh, move too quick. Speaking of nuances in reselling, this place that is by me is the best place I think any reseller would love to have. It's probably like 10 minutes away from me, but it takes FedEx, UPS, USPS, and DHL or something. I've never heard of that other shipping thing, but basically I can just choose my cheapest shipping option and just ship out from there. Well, a lot of people are stuck with only using USPS, and honestly, I mean, the best option is the USPS pickup, but I live in an apartment, so that's just not gonna be possible. But not only am I able to drop off all of my packages there in just one dump, and I'm not having to wait in line or have people scan my stuff. These people are like required to scan, and that's great, but I can get my return sent back here. And I think it's like $30 every 3 months is what I owe to basically have a PO box, but it's not a PO box. I just get my things shipped here. Because obviously I can get big returns and stuff. So when I buy in bulk and people ship items to me, or when I need a return, they just go right back here, and I don't have to worry about it, one, getting stuck in my apartment, because if anyone lives in an apartment, you know receiving items can be a pain, but it's just too much. But with this one, I just basically have my own PO box and I can get things sent to me, which is way, way easier. All my Amazon stuff and things still go to my apartment, but to get returns and things like that here, it's just way easier. And I don't like having my personal address all over eBay and things like that. It's just, it feels weird for me. So I just do that. Tuesdays are such a weird time. For those of you guys that do reselling at any capacity, Tuesdays are such a weird way to ship. When I was doing this part-time, I only shipped out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but now it makes way more sense for me to just ship every single day because I have packages going out every single day, and people can get packages easier, and it just kind of helps with my overall sales. I definitely noticed more sales happening when I made the option to ship every day. But Tuesdays are such a weird day because Mondays, you're shipping out so many items. I had a record amount of items. It was like 30 something items that went out on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I think I had like 6 items to ship. So it's like, you know, you're walking out with 2 IKEA bags, and this one, you know, you could carry probably in one big armful, but it's like a little bit of the IKEA bag. What we're gonna go do now is we are gonna go hit the bins. These bins I love. I think we have 3, if not 2 bins kind of close to each other here in Colorado. This one's definitely a newer one, and it's closer to my house, and it's just in a better area. The other bins that I went to was like by these train tracks, and you could never get parking there. Everyone was parking in areas that said you couldn't park, and they didn't get towed. You just didn't want to be that one time that it got towed. it was a very, very, very bad area. And this one is in a much nicer area. And the nice thing is that like there's a gas station and a McDonald's nearby. And so when I have days like today where I'm gonna spend most of my day at the bins, I could just go to the bins and then go get lunch and go right home, and it just makes my life a lot easier. So that is what today is gonna look like. Not every day looks like this. A lot of the times I have like a couple different thrift routes that I like to go on. But when you're doing this full time at an earlier stage, you don't wanna just like spend all your money at once. I like to try to think of my payout that comes in and how much inventory can I buy budget-wise per day. And that fluctuates because obviously you have gas that you have to pay, you have other expenses that you have to pay, you have food, and then just overall life things. But it's like if I can look at, okay, you know, I can get 15 items per day, that's kind of an easier goal for me to go after. And if I can hit, my minimum is like 10, but I'd love to walk out with 15. And then obviously if I'm walking out with more, that's even better. But if I could walk out with 15 items a day, then I'm gonna list those 15 items and then reset on the next day. And then I can either hit the bins again or go to thrift stores again. But it all kind of depends. So that's what we're gonna go do. We're gonna go hit the bins, and I'll pick you guys up. Maybe I'll bring it in on my phone and show you what I get at the bins. Yeah, that's what I think we'll do. Does anyone feel like this at the bins, like that goes to the bins? Sometimes, at least in the clothing section, I like this. It's really cool. It almost feels like a competitive fashion show sometimes. Like you've got the vintage kids that are wearing the Janko jeans and like the vintage splash hats and all of that stuff. And then you have other people that are just like showing up wearing Lululemon and Viore and, you know, or they're like dressed up like crazy. Or then you have the kids that are dressed up like they're in the 70s, you know, they're wearing just like super old hats and like just these Dickies jeans and stuff like it. Just the diverse amount of people that you see and all the cool styles that they have is really fun. Like I love dressing like this way at the bins, you know, like I'm wearing some like corduroy pants and my favorite vintage Rockies jacket, and it just like it's kind of fun that way. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But and then sometimes I'll either listen to music or a podcast, or I'll listen to like worship music as I'm digging through the bins or something like that. It's just really enjoyable, and time flies in there. It really, really, really does. And you can get to meet other people. Sometimes I'll just kind of sit, maybe this is a little invasive, but like I'll sit and listen. Like when we're waiting for the bins to get rotated out, I will listen and just see what people are buying. Sometimes people will talk about like where they get some other things outside of the bins, or like what they like to buy, because then, you know, sometimes I'll buy something or I'll pick something up that wouldn't work for me necessarily, but it would work for a whatnot seller, and I can give it to them and create a good relationship. That's exactly what I did. And it helps a lot because then you can meet more people, connect with more people, and it just makes it much easier. You know, you can get good relationships and all of that. And then quick little thing that I'll give you guys, in the Colorado bin specifically, it doesn't seem like a lot of people do this across the US. We have a constant rotation. So how a lot of people's bins or Goodwill outlets work is that at the morning, you'll have all new bins kind of set out, and you'll jump in and just grab in what you can grab. And then, you know, after a little bit of time, it's been rummaged through, and, you know, I'm sure that you can find good stuff, but like you've kind of gone through every single bin and grabbed what you need to grab. And then you'll go through the rest of your day going to like, you know, thrift stores or flea markets or whatever. The way our bins work is a constant rotation. I haven't figured it out. I haven't really paid attention. I don't know if it's like every 10, every 15. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, but there'll be a constant rotation. And sometimes 2 full rows. Not only like you'll have one bin, and that's like one row. You have one bin, and that's another row. They'll rotate those out constantly. Sometimes you'll try to scour out a bin on what you want, like if you see a logo of something, or, you know, maybe there's something that looks like a nice material or a puffer jacket of some sort, and you'll run over that bin, and they'll go, well, you run, but they say walk, and you'll walk as fast, you'll speed walk over to that bin that you want and kind of hover over the bin, look in, and then they'll say shop. And then that's when everyone goes crazy. In the hard good area, it just sounds like loud and there's glass breaking and things flying and all this craziness. And in the close, it's much quieter because it's closed, but you'll just start grabbing. We had a great day at the bins yesterday, but no promises today, but we'll see what we get. And I'll pick you guys back up when I get there. Peace. So my typical strategy when I get here, usually, you know, you're missing a rotation. When I showed up, a rotation literally just happened, so I kind of missed probably a good chunk of the good stuff, but I was still able to get a lot of stuff. Oh, so here comes a rotation right now, but typically, like, I'm going through all the other stuff, and up here. So we're gonna get to see a rotation, but normally I jump in just to all the old stuff, and someone's putting their stuff next to mine, and then I'll just kind of hang out and look, because there's a lot of things that people still don't pick up that's really good. So we are gonna hop into this rotation. As you can see, they're starting to pull out some more bins here, and we'll sit in line and we'll just dart after them. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like. I think I got a good find here. We've got the 2000, what is that, 2000 tag? And it looks old. Unfortunately, tag is ripped off. Double stitch, but I don't know. Kind of cool though. It's the back piece here. Yeah, this is sick. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. So this is what I kind of do. I sit here. Everybody is kind of waiting for the next rotation, and I get some stuff. And I usually grab, obviously, grabbing these things that you know, but this is a great place for me to learn about brands and products at the same time, because you don't know everything, right? So it's like, for example, right now I'm looking up this Triumph button-up shirt, and it seems like the sell-through rate's okay, but not that good. But I have the time to say yes and no to things and take risks, but not too many. So at this point now, I've put back a lot of stuff. Right now, I probably have at least like maybe 5 things, and that's okay. I like I said, to try to walk out with more stuff, but I did get here late because hashtag tax season. But basically, I like to try to walk out with at least 10 items. I might be doing a little bit less. It's just an average day today, nothing crazy. It's kind of hard to go from a really good day at the bins yesterday and then expect to have the same expectations that you did today. So the nice thing is that, like, I was able to list a lot more yesterday than I normally do. So if I'm a little bit behind today, it's okay. But it's always good to be ahead than, you know, at equal level. So right now we're waiting in between rotations, and so I'll just kind of look. Some of the games in this is the putbacks, and so sometimes people will throw things in the putback, so I try to go to like the corner areas over there, or by the vintage kids, because they might want to be selling something that, or they don't want to sell something that I would like to sell. Ooh, this is nice. Eddie Bauer puffer jacket. Might take a look at this. I know that jacket season's going to a close, but I'm kind of considering like getting a bunch of like winter and fall stuff and scheduling it for our wedding and honeymoon, obviously, and then that way they're just sitting there for quite some time. But if I'm scheduling that far in advance, they get posted at that time. No idea if that's a good idea or not, but that's kind of what I've been thinking to do. But yeah, that's kind of what we do here at the bin. Sometimes days fly by and, you know, I have like a bunch of stuff, and like you saw in that last clip, I had like another pile of things that I just kind of look through because I have the time to, and I can learn about a lot. Ooh, this is nice. It's a small. And so that's kind of what I try to do, is just sometimes look at brands. Right now I'm not too, like, if I wasn't recording, I probably would have looked up this Eddie Bauer, but I just threw it in my hands and I'll look it up in just a second. My main goal is realistically sell-through rate, and like a good average sale price. If I'm a little bit over 20 and it's like a t-shirt, I'll consider it, because, you know, that's going to be a pretty good profit. You know, my t-shirt's going to be $1, and if it has a really good sell-through rate and I'm gonna make 20, then I'm cool with that. But I try not to do the mentality, this is where the bins will get you for sure. If you're a new reseller, I've fallen into this trap, especially in the clothes, as being like, oh, this is gonna be super cheap, might as well grab it. But sometimes it's not worth sitting there for that long and never selling. You know, it's like, why did you even put any money into it? Because now it's not that one item that's going to be the make or break. It's that mentality in general. Yes, you're going to think about it for that one item, but if you have that with 1,000 items, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but let's just say you did that for a whole day at the bins, where every piece of clothing, you're like, that's okay, it's just one item. Well, now you've walked away with 10, 15, 20 things that are just not going to sell. But because you want something to sell or something in your store, you're grabbing crappy stuff. So you can see, like, this is probably a lot of putbacks right here. And I'll take a look at some of these, because some of these vintage kids, they don't have the same goal. And I think that's one thing that people get intimidated of reselling in 2026, is thinking that everyone has the same goal as you. And yes, that can be a thing. You know, there's probably a good chunk of people that have the same goal. Like, they're happy if they make $20 to $25 with a good sell-through rate of items. But like, a lot of these vintage kids are doing completely different things, you know, or they have a different model, or they get, I don't know. I really don't know what their goals are, to be honest. Oh, it's an Izod piece. And then you have like the Whatnot people, where they're just trying to get a lot of stuff to sell. You know, a Whatnot person might pick these up, I don't know, because they're Dickies, it's a name brand thing, it's probably not going to cost too much, and they can sell it for more. You know, I think about that often, of if I would ever go down that route of just grabbing name brand items for a Whatnot show that I can just get the best margins for. Ooh, never heard of this brand. So this is a great example. This brand right here, I've never heard of. And because it's taking a while for rotation, I'm just going to throw it over my shoulder and look it up, because why not? And it gives me that knowledge of like, okay, if I see this again, it's either a yes or a no. The power of no in the bins is just as, if not more important than the power of yes. Because yes, something can be a really good buy, but also something can be a really bad buy. So you just got to be careful on both ends of that in the bins. They'll get you, but is it still alive? Are the bins still alive? Can I get stuff? Well, I've only really been here for, I don't know, maybe a couple hours, and walking out with potentially 5 stuff. If I wanted to, I could probably leave right now, go get lunch, go hit some thrift stores, and walk out with much more stuff. After this rotation, if it's pretty dead, I'm probably going to do that. Some people go, it's a good day or a bad day at the bins, but it's really, in my eyes, yes, but it's also the luck of the draw, you know? It's just like, who knows? I don't think that each employee is going to be like, ooh, let's put out all the good stuff in these bins. They're just dumping clothes and moving on. So that's kind of what I like to think. And if I'm not walking out with many good things, the next rotation could be an amazing rotation, but, you know, or every rotation could be slow. So I'm just cautious of that on all ends. But hopefully next rotation comes up here pretty soon, and we'll see how it goes. That rotation was much better, so I might stay for one more, depending on how fast they move. But that one alone, I walked away with 4 pair of pants. Citizen of Humanity, a Goldie, Cody James, and a vintage Columbia puffer jacket. So, not bad. The puffer jacket, again, it might be one of those ones. I don't know. I haven't made my mind up if I'm going to kind of preview it up. So we're looking at 21 items and a vintage hat. I'll go over everything that we got here, but I think it's about time we bounce. It's already way later than I like to be because traffic is so bad, but I figured might as well just stay because that's what we do. We want to get more items. That's kind of the name of the game. And I stayed longer at Starbucks this morning finishing my taxes, so I kind of deserved that, for lack of a better term. Usually, like, how I like to play this game is that, like, if I am getting ready to go before rotation, which I think they're about to call, I might just do one more. Yep, they're about to call rotation, so never mind. Okay, this will be the last rotation. Maybe, I don't know. 45, 51. for, I don't know, let's call it 15, 16, 17 items, something like that. So is it still alive? Yes. You know, not every day am I walking out with 15 items, but the nice thing is like a lot of these big players are posting 40-ish items a day. And you know, if I'm able to post 15, then I'm on track to do pretty good. And the better my knowledge gets, the more you pick up and the faster you can go through this process. So think about it quite often is that like, this is a knowledge-based game where I'm really just kind of going through and learning. The more I learn, the better items I pick up, the less time I'm taking searching for items, and the more items I can say no to faster, and then I can grab a lot more and even hit the thrift stores that the bigger my budget goes. But holy cow, I'm starving. It's probably close to 4 o'clock. So I'm gonna put you down, grab some food, and then we're gonna go over everything. It's 4:03. Then we're gonna go over everything I got. We're back, almost home, and I just wanted to update because this is about if reselling is even possible in 2026 full time. And the realistic part of this is the obvious answer is yes. The other thing that you have to think about is just like, do you want to do this? I think a lot of people want to start a business with 1,000 different excuses in starting that business about competition, time spent, you have to pay money, there's fees on eBay, there's all these prices that you have to pay at thrift stores, yada, 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 there's storage and everything. Or if those are things that you don't want to deal with, then you don't want to be reselling in 2026. I think that there's other ways to make money that it doesn't have to be reselling. And realistically, I think that this job is very different than a lot of the businesses that you see online, like marketing agencies and real estate and all these other different things. And obviously those are businesses that I've started myself, but it's just different. You know, I have to be out. And I think that I really weighed out the options of businesses and honestly going back into 9-to-5 worlds and things like that. This is just something I really wanted to do because I enjoy it. You're in the reselling industry, but like if you are doing clothing, you are kind of in the fashion industry. You have to understand trends, you have to understand seasons, you have to understand brands and what do good and what looks good, you know, and just because it's a nice baggy pair of jeans, because it has a Shein logo slapped on it, you automatically lose value of that. You have to ask yourself if you really, really, really want to do this. I definitely don't work 9-to-5 hours yet, but right now I'm not. You know, it's 4:48. I'm picking Nadia up. I started this video after I dropped her off, and I still have items to list. I still have things to store into storage. I still have things to do that, you know, I'm not even close to finishing my day. But I do enjoy the freedom that I have, and I'm working throughout. You know, it's a completely different industry than going into a 9-to-5 and working into a cubicle, or, you know, you have to stay here and you can only take this long of a lunch and you have to clock out for your lunch, or sometimes you can't even leave for lunch, or whatever the case is. This is much different. Now, the other side of it is that I have downsides of it too. You know, it's like there's times that you're working later than you want to, or you are working longer, or you don't find something, or there's ebbs and flows in the business that you have really good weeks and you have really bad weeks, and you have, you know, something in between. And you just really have to have that honest conversation with yourself, because I fully believe that reselling is still possible in 2026. Nothing really has changed drastically in the last few years that is going to make it not make me change my mind, I guess, you know? Nadia's calling. 3 screenshots and I don't answer. Just kidding. I always answer. Hey, gorgeous.
Hey, bestie.
What's up, beautiful?
Did you want me to save that pizza or leave it?
How much pizza is there?
I got 2 slices.
2 slices?
I love you.
All right, bye, beautiful.
Bye.
Really have to weigh out what you're looking for in a business. I think that as somebody that's tried multiple different businesses, I really think that you have to have a part of it that you really enjoy. And I used to never say that. I would have like hated somebody for being like, you gotta enjoy what you do for work, because my mindset used to be like, you should just work hard. and you should not care what you do. You should have your work be so hard that you can do the fun things that you can do and create all the freedom in the world, yada, yada, yada. But then I actually think about it and I'm like, I don't think, especially with how my life and brain works, I don't think I'd be able to do any more businesses that I don't enjoy at all. I did not enjoy doing sales calls. I did not enjoy sitting down and talking to people over Zoom or over the phone. I didn't enjoy every business that I owned besides reselling. And I remember asking myself, like, okay, what do I want inside of a business? I want freedom. I actually want to drive and be out and about and see different areas and places and people and not be stuck at home all day. And that was like a big part. And I was stuck, honestly, I was even thinking about starting a vending machine business because of that. And I just wanted to be out. I just didn't want to be stuck inside the four walls of my home doing absolutely nothing. That's what the business I was doing a few years, or well, I guess you would say a few years, but even months before I started going full-time into reselling. So you got to ask, like, are you cool with being out and about? Are you cool with like seeing, different people and having to drive all over the place? Are you cool with having to take pictures of items? Are you cool with having to stay at thrift stores for, a long period of time? Are you cool with having to research and study and do all the different things that require you to be a successful reseller? If that's a no, if you watch videos like this and you see me at the bins or you see me at the thrift store, you see me at any aspect of this and you're like, ooh, like that does not sound fun. And I'm talking like, let's call it 90% of it. If you don't like 90% of it, don't go into reselling full time. But if you like 90% of it, you could do it. I'm not saying I like every single part of it. There are days where I'm just like, bro, what am I doing? And I'm like exhausted or tired or just over it. But, for the most part, I really do enjoy this. Now, I'm not sitting here excited to go list my items, but, it's something I'd rather be doing than working a 9-to-5. Well, I started listing my items and I realized it didn't even show you guys half the things I got at the bin. So for the things that I already got, I'll show you right now because half of them are already stored up. But I'll show you the picture I got. So I got these Patagonia swim shorts. I got this vintage Polo Ralph Lauren chino pants or whatever you want to call them. These are really, really cool. It's made in USA too. I didn't even look up comps for that, I'm not gonna lie, so hopefully they're good. And then this is called American Big or something like that. That was a pretty good one. These Carhartt cargo-ish shorts. Sell-through rate was okay on these, but I feel like that it might just be okay because it's not summer yet, so hopefully I'm just trying to get some more summer items and stuff in the store. So here's everything else that we got today. This one's definitely going to need cleaning, so I'm glad I pulled this out. But this was American Eagle. I'm not picking up a whole lot of American Eagle. Sell-through rates are okay on them, and mall brands are hit and miss, but this one had a pretty good sell-through rate and a decent sales price. These are super high-rise, baggy wide leg pants. Mouthful. Let me show you. Bam! Super wide leg. They're a little bit dirty. I almost put them back, but I grabbed extra. I grabbed more than I normally get in a day. So there's a couple things that are gonna need washing, but I'm okay with that because then it's always nice. Sometimes I forget that I have them and then I pull them out. I'm like, oh, now I have an extra thing to list today. So that's gonna be that. These Lucky brands, they don't sell at a high price, but have a good sell-through rate. And so for a $3 purchase price, at least it checks marks one of my boxes, which is a sell-through rate being really good. I'm sorry if I'm looking up at my screen. I gotta work on looking here, but these were just Lucky brand 410 Athletic Slim. Not picking up a lot of slim, but these aren't skinny jeans. They're kind of straight, but I guess you could call them slim if you really, really want to. But decent sell-through rate and always good to have. Okay, this brand, I don't fully understand. So someone in the comments can feel free to educate me because sell-through rates on this brand is so weird. But on my store, I have 100% sell-through rate, over 100%. I had 0 listed on my store and 2 sold of Citizen of Humanity. And I got 2 in the last 2 days. So I guess now it's 100% sell-through rate because 2 are going to be listed and 2 are going to be sold. I like this color, and then it's kind of cut off on the bottom. Even though they're skinny, I was seeing sold comps still go, I think, over 30, if I remember right. I don't fully remember. I'd have to pull them back up. I couldn't find this exact color, but again, they're super over 100% sell-through rate on my store, so I got them. A Goldie, this is a great brand to be on the lookout for. It's a good Bolo brand. A Goldie right here. Pants. I've seen a Goldie shorts before. I've sold a handful of them and have some in my store, I think, actively. But seeing the pants, pretty good. And they're wide leg, not super skinny. So always good to see. Next, we've got Cody James. I love selling Cody James. Why? I don't know. They don't sell like really crazy. I mean, they probably sell from $20 to $25 in my store. They're over 100% sell-through rate in my store alone. But I just always get excited when I see a pair of Cody James because I just know. I guess the reason why I get excited is because I just know that they're gonna sell. You know, I like seeing something that I've sold many times over in the past, and so when I see a brand that I'm like, I know out of everything that I got at the bins today, at least something's gonna sell. It just helps. There was a guy next to me that had a pair of Cody James, and he's sitting there looking him up, and he's like contemplating throwing them back, and I was like, throw him back, and he didn't throw them back. So I was like, at least I got one. I almost got two today. BKE Billy Jeans. Another one of these, very similar to Cody James. BKE is 100% sell-through rate. Buckle is 100% sell-through rate in my store. Skinny Billy Jeans, but they do really well. Good sell-through rate on that. Again, not like a crazy price. We're not selling these for $45 or anything else like that. But again, I estimated jeans can be close to about $3. And so for a $3 purchase to make, let's call it $25 to $30, pretty good to me. BKE was like the coolest thing when I was in high school over 10 years ago. And now they're not as cool, but they're still good. I don't own any pair, and I don't know if I ever will. But Pilcrow, this is a brand that seemed to do pretty well. Pretty good pair of jeans here. Again, you're going to see a pattern today. Yesterday, I had an amazing day at the bins. I wish I recorded that. I found like Diesel and I found Cool. I found just all these really good brands at the bins that I never find. And so I had this high expectation. I probably walked out with the same amount of stuff, which is still pretty good. But anyways, this is cool. So this is actually an unimportant brand. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the bins. Nadia doesn't even know this yet, but I love finding things for Nadia at the bins. And this is like her favorite type of style of clothes. It's like so light. This was, let's call it 50 cents maybe. And I get to help out with her wardrobe, and she always gets so excited when I bring her stuff home from the bins or from the thrift store that I found for her personal. I like getting stuff for my personal. I almost got a pair of these like Volcom corduroy pants that didn't really sell well, but they look cool. But I don't know. That's like one of my favorite things ever is getting things for Nadia at the bins. But anyways, let's get back to actual sell stuff. Okay, so I saw this camo lying down, and when I see just like leggings, I always grab and just will look up later or just grab to look, because leggings are so cheap, and it's always good when you see this logo. I know Lululemon isn't as good as it once was, but at the bins, Lululemon is always great to find because it's so cheap. And let's say I can even get these for $25. It's going to cost nothing to ship and super easy to list. So always a good one. This is also going to go in the cleaning section of the pickup today, so that's fine. This is a good bolo. I have not sold a pair of these, but I found one yesterday, and then I found another one today. Figs. That is a scrub. It's a scrub top. Hopefully there's no needles in here. That would suck. Sell-through rate does pretty good. The reason why I found out about this brand is that there was somebody on Facebook Marketplace selling a bunch of these, and I almost bought it in bulk, but the price just wasn't there to buy it in bulk. But I was just like, I'll make a mental note of that. Found them yesterday, found them again today. This one, oh man, I'm just now realizing there's a logo on it. I didn't see that, but this shouldn't be the end of the world because it's still a pretty good piece. But a North Face quarter zip? No, full zip. Men's 2XL. So North Face, again, is one of those brands that probably wasn't as good as it once was, but still a good grab at the bins. How much? Oh, Goodwill had this for $7, and nobody bought it, so that sucks. But I got it now. This one was an interesting one. This one is Peter Millar. There's like shell everywhere. Swim shorts. couldn't find a size on this, and let's see if I can, I couldn't find a size, but Peter Millar, the inside is the Peter Millar logo, and then that little hit, but these are definitely big, definitely bigger than a large, so got those. Good to have some swim attire and Peter Millar swim attire. The swimsuits did pretty well when I looked them up, so that's pretty good. This is a return, but I'm gonna relist it. Mavi jeans. These are Mavi wide leg. I guess you could call it wide or straight leg jeans. Just another decent brand. Not anything to write home about, but still a decent find. This one is really cool. This one's really cool. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. I've never found something like this before ever at the bins, but this, Zed's Dead. Grateful Dead tie-dye. This one's another okay one. This is Bonobos 7-inch seam shorts. So decent sell-through rate, sold for a pretty good price. Just adding more shorts and stuff like that, you're gonna get that. You're not gonna get, really expensive shorts. If I can sell these pair of shorts for $20, I'm gonna be pretty happy. This one was the first thing that I found. Speaking of shorts, these are Levi 569. It's like this grayish blue. I really like these. It'd be hard to not keep these in the personal if they weren't my size, but these are size 36. And then this one, which I am indifferent about how I'm going to do. So we have a wedding coming up in October, and obviously a honeymoon coming up in October. And I was given the idea of like, you could still have the eBay business run while you're out. And that's basically just having somebody or paying somebody to help with shipping, and then you can schedule up items while I'm gone. And so I was thinking about like, during October, and it's going to be mid-October when our wedding is, man, if we could schedule up some items while I'm gone, that's not a crazy idea. And the cool thing is like, certain items are not going to sell well, especially in the next couple of months. We're not going to sell jackets and flannels and things like that very quickly over the summertime, because who buys those, right? I think that some of the like, I'm sure that a Carhartt jacket and things would still sell over the summer. I've never done it, but I would assume sought after things would still sell. But this is pretty cool. This is a vintage Columbia puffer jacket. It's like definitely one of those big puffer jackets. I saw some comps going for like $60 on this. Is this reversible? I don't think it's reversible. No, but it's got like the purple inside. It's really nice. So I'm thinking I might do that. It's just gonna suck because it's like, it's gonna take up inventory space for the next 6 months, because it's not gonna sell, because if I were to schedule it, it's gonna take up that inventory space for 6 months. But if I can do things like that, I needed to add, like if I really wanna do it, if I can schedule 5 things a week by the time that the wedding comes, if I did a 10-day honeymoon, which is a long time, but if I did, that's, the math is basically gonna add up to me posting a lot of items while we're still out. And then I was thinking about having my mom help us with shipping. I don't know yet, we'll have to see. That is the grab for today at the bins. That's what this video is about, as if it's still possible. The obvious thing is that I just started in a very desirable place to resell in Colorado, because we can get a lot of good stuff. Our bins are really good out here. We have all different seasons, so it's easy to sell different things. And we have sports teams that sports attire sells really well too. And I started 3 months ago full-time, and I'm doing just fine, actually. I'm continuing to grow. The store is continuing to grow, and things are looking upward. So in my eyes, reselling is still very much alive. It's just more, if you want to do it, if you have the courage enough to go through some of these things of learning and experiencing and making mistakes, as most businesses are, and just understanding that like there's competition. I personally am not scared of competition in reselling, because I think competition is what makes reselling alive. If it was just me reselling, but I was talking to my brother about this, he's like, I thought you were like one of the only people that did this type of stuff. And he's like, I didn't know that this was like a whole thing. It's like, no, there are hundreds of people. As you can see at the bins, there are a lot of people that do this full time. And that's just one little small section at the bins. How many people are coming and going? How many different bins are there? How many different thrift stores are there? How many different sourcing opportunities are there? We haven't even gone to the flea market yet. But it's just like, competition is what makes this alive. if I was the only one doing this, eBay would not be a platform, because who would go to eBay if I was the only one selling, right? Who would go to Facebook Marketplace? Who would do these types of things? But reselling is like been around for forever. I mean, think about how most businesses go. You're typically buying something for cheaper and selling it for more. I was considering making a video about a hate comment that I got, and I might make a video about like, why do people hate resellers or things like that. Oh, we're matching with the green top. Wow. Got you something.
What is that? Oh my gosh, it's similar to the other shirt that you got me too. That's so cute.
You like it?
I love it.
That's what I was telling her. I just love going to the bins and finding stuff for Nadia.
What is probably like 2 cents?
Yeah, it's like nothing. It's so light.
Thanks, Mom.
So anyways, it's still so alive and it's still so real. It's like you can still make a living out of this. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to make millions, because I haven't made millions yet. I would love to. If this business is possible to be able to do really, really well financially in, that would be great. But if it's just good enough for me to be able to like have the dreams that I'm wanting, I have a certain like revenue goal in mind. I haven't felt comfortable enough to share that on YouTube for a couple of different reasons, but like I feel like it's possible. And that's what I'm kind of striving for. You know, I don't want this just to pay the bills. I kind of have always had dreams to do more. I feel like I've been called to do more. That's why I'm doing YouTube. You know, I don't know if it would just ever be reselling or if I would have other businesses that I attach to it, like merch or whatever. But like, I love this. I enjoy this very much. I'm gonna list these items. Keep an eye out for the next video coming in. It's actually gonna be how I list these items. You're gonna see the items that I already listed. Yes, I made 2 videos in one day. Sue me. Actually, please don't sue me. I won't afford that. I just want to hang out with you guys, show you what it looks like to do this. And I love the YouTube process. I love reselling. So to be able to combine them all together is really cool. Now I got to figure out a way to combine my cars into reselling. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and just share this video so we can get and reach more people. Reselling is still very much alive. I am not scared for anybody else to join into this business, because competition is what makes sell-through rates. Like, if you think about it, that's how it all works. So I would encourage you to give it a shot. If you're back and forth on it and you've kind of liked it, but you just don't know, just try it at a part-time level and you might be surprised. Thanks for hanging out. God bless. Peace out.